Spaghetti for breakfast, sits smoking. Nothing at all will happen, no laughter, and he puts on a shirt and tie, watches porn, then goes for a walk. A pale blue jacket, gray trousers, drunk by 10, goes to the diner for eggs. The waitress has an earring shaped like small yellow flowers and vodka no ice in a green glass goblet, spaghetti on a snow-white plate, 5 cigarettes lined up to his left, 5 lines of cocaine to his right. Inside 3C, Orlando is down on her knees and married and Jewish and in a pink bra and snakeskin stilettos, and she loves him with all her heart. Garbage trucks in a slow procession up 4th Avenue. He sits on the curb outside the laundromat, chasing shots of vodka with King Cobra. And she's in a rec room on the moon, dancing naked for a group of scientists, and her eyes are bright yellow and her nipples are pale blue. A pale blue jacket at the Greyhound station, Orlando, Florida, lungs full of menthol smoke, pulls a folded up piece of paper, a drawing she made of a Coke from a credit card in her lap, in the back of the bus. Orlando has pierced nipples and gold eyeshadow, and she thinks he's a great artist. A little drunk, has 2 pencils, one yellow, one light blue, draws a spaceship for her while he waits for his coffee at the diner. But then completely devastated now, and not a single sound, a bag of ice and a lemon pie in the freezer, drinks Mr. Boston from the bottle, a jar of... And she's forgotten him entirely now. And inside the Burger King by the highway, a coffee and vodka, and he sketches a blue heron on the napkin. Ice cold inside 3C, they sit on the carpet eating fries from Burger King, watching a young blonde fisting an older brunette on a black and white monitor. Smith's Tavern, beer and a shot 3 times, sketching shorebirds and spinning, nearly falls off his stool. Some blonde, he couldn't care less. 3C, ice cold, the AC on high, checks the mirror, doesn't know what he looks like anymore. 52 years old, hasn't known for years, pours himself a. 5:30 in the morning, the pond in front of the apartment complex. He watches from the bathroom window, 2 small egrets in the fog, then turns. Up on stage singing, and before she's even done, everybody's fucking clapping like mad, and he's back by the bar, feeling like a fucking idiot. In lemon yellow pencil drew her face poorly, then in pale blue her breast. In thick gray a blue heron. In red he signed his name over and over. Eats pie with his fingers, tries to jerk off and fails. Showers and dresses, shirt and tie to the diner with a flask in his pocket. She's gone. Some legs on that blonde, guy at the bar says, but he's trying to write the Italian a letter. Pointless. Orders another shot. Imagines fucking. The days pass now, that's all. Occasionally he'll see Orlando at some bar and draw her picture. She's in love with some guy and laughs when he... Dunkin' Donuts sucks. On the sidewalk spins around, maybe a cab. Vodka and iced coffee. The AC, the Muslim girl behind the counter, tries to text. At his desk, loaded on morphine, head like a rain cloud, whole body dulled, thinking can't be trusted, the curly-haired girl in a vintage dress. Iced lemon donuts with Orlando, both wasted high on morphine sulfate. She's naked on the carpet, the television with cable news on mute. He's at iced lemon donuts, applesauce, morphine sulfate, a cotton blanket, a thunderstorm, toenails painted red, orange juice, her white shoulders. Rain falls straight down into the street, the backdrop a yellow brick wall, up at the window staring, not unhappy, only slightly drunk, no lights. 3C is a 4-floor walk-up, linoleum floor, AC rattling in the window, a plate, a cup, a bowl, a lemon meringue pie in the freezer. He sits and... 3C is a 4-floor walk-up, no AC. He sits naked on a stepladder at the kitchen table. Orlando is sleeping on the linoleum floor. He stares. Three C is a 4-floor walk-up, ice cold, pale blue carpet, a poster of Saturn's rings in the kitchen. He's on the floor studying maps of the... 3C is a 4-floor walk-up, 2 a.m., pours a vodka, no ice, unrolls a map of the moon's surface on the kitchen table. She's sleeping naked on the... Lemon popsicles and applesauce and Cheetos in a steel cell on the moon, and German porn and nipple clamps and experiments with tropical fish. Spends his days at his monitor in a room full of fish tanks, eating lemon pudding from a foil bag and masturbating and making playlists. Three C, the Italian left. It's a non-smoking room, so he stands on the balcony overlooking a marshy field, a pair of egrets, and the bright yellow sun. In 3C, 3 monitors on the kitchen floor, on one a rocket launch, on the other French amateur porn, and then a surveillance cam of her asleep. Apartment 3C, ice cold, yellow and blue striped wallpaper. There's sliced bread and applesauce, and Neurontin and Seroquel, and he's unsure what. Drinking screwdrivers from a thermos, out on a reedy lake, blazing yellow sun. They say alligators, and he paddles to one end and back, all after. Shirt and tie, 2 Haldol, then breakfast at a gas station, the metal bridge over the interstate to Kitty Cats, a vodka grapefruit, sees Orlando. She's dancing, really a little too old and a little too thin to be up there, but he spins back from the toilet, thinking if she would just kiss. 2 big yellow suns, a pale blue mountain range surrounds the city. In a cab with Orlando going 90, sniffs coke off the seat, fucking Martians. 1 bowl, 1 cup, 1 spoon, a pair of light blue parakeets. He loves her with all his heart, washes the Seroquel down with warm Stoli, and knows. Apartment 3C in a complex by a lake, choked with algae, by the interstate, crepe myrtles and alligators. He gets breakfast at the gas station. A recipe for lemon pie, but she can't cook. He's tapping cheap coke into a cigarette. The TV is on mute, a child killing a bear with an arrow. Cherry candy and lemon ice and applesauce and cold, cold water, and Ativan and Ambien and Benadryl, and thin white arms and long brown hair. Horrible desperation, Smith's Tavern, 2 a.m. The bartender, tall and thin, ignores him. He's tipped goddamn well all night with her fucking tattoo. Drugs himself to sleep, thinking of Orlando and the moon, tattoo on her shoulder, and her thin white arms, and drugs himself some more because Orlando isn't here, and he called and they said Alex wasn't dancing tonight, and he tries to text the Italian but too drunk and can't type. In his underwear, paddles across the lake, chain smoking, fucking mosquitoes, killing himself for all the mistakes and impotence and vodka tonics. Blocks of blue ice and cold lemon syrup, shoots dope in his ass, all the air conditioners on full blast, and the Italian girl sings him. Pale blue 92 Corolla overheats on I-75, 50 miles south of Orlando, pulls off the ramp into the parking lot of an adult toy store, calls her. A structure made of blocks of blue ice and lemon yellow mortar, inside a metal desk, shortwave radio, and a bowl with a blood-red fighting fish. They're drunk at the club. She's in a short glitter dress and snakeskin heels and won't stop talking to this fucking guy with a tattoo. Orlando is bound with ice blue ribbon to a bed in the back of a small house near the airport. She sings and fantasizes about a quiver filled. A pale blue 92 Corolla parked outside, 3C. He's asleep in the back seat. Orlando wouldn't let him in. Then around 10, watches some guy leave in. Ethane rains and methane snows, plowing through a frozen cyan sea on a Russian ice cutter, high as hell, with her tied with ribbon to a bunk. 1 foot out the window, the Italian girl in daisy yellow underwear and wife beater sings along to the radio. He's super high at the wheel of. On the train, 2 a.m., and vodka, and staring at a girl, pale blue dress, looks just like Orlando but with tattoos, and he wishes he was anywhere else. She was ill. He changed the sheets to the bright yellow ones she liked, and fed her lemon ice on a sterling spoon, and kissed her feet, and cherry candy and espresso shots and morphine sulfate and fuck all day in the bathroom, on the kitchen floor, and she reads him what she wrote. Rosa across a slushy lake, blocks of blue ice and a platinum sun, and calls her name and whispers her name and carves her name in his forearm. In 3C at the Marriott, Alex lets him go down on her, and after, ask him whose initials are cut into his arm, but he'll never tell her or anyone. Awake at 4 in the morning, does 50 push-ups, then lemon pudding out of a silver bowl, takes 6 milligrams of Ativan, and dresses in a pale blue suit, and used to be a cutter, but these days just too exhausted all the time. Drives aimlessly around Brooklyn till 3 in the morning, hoping to see her. Laundromat, drunk and covered in sweat. The owner keeps 2 blue parakeets on one of the dryers. A Mexican child spits red candy onto the floor. Sticky red candy on the blue linoleum. She pulls off her dress and lies down on the floor beside him. He puts his hand in her crotch and tries. In his underwear, lemon yellow water lilies so thick on the lake he can barely paddle the pale blue boat. The vodka is hot. The sky is white. Watching and smoking while Orlando crawls across the pale blue carpet, a bouquet of yellow flowers in her mouth, nipple clamps, and a dog collar. The yard, a small square of pink gravel, a single date palm beside the mailbox stuffed with grocery circulars. He's inside wondering what the... He and Alex meet once a week in 3C at the Marriott by the airport. The TV is on mute, and now an alien planet with 2 blue suns and a frozen... Red candy stuck together, a red fighting fish on the counter by the register, and a Mexican girl with bright red lipstick in front of the porn. Smears himself with red syrup and vodka, vicious and in desperation. The Italian girl is in love. Walks to the liquor store, old Chinese bitch. Coffee and a shot of Mr. Boston from the freezer. Across the highway to the Robin's Egg Diner, 2 more coffees and wheat toast. The waitress. 3 a.m. can't sleep. The Robin's Egg Diner. Smears bright yellow margarine on white toast. Tries to speak French to the waitress. She's Moroccan, and... A bagel, nearly gags. A large lemonade. A shot of vodka. The fucking heat and a menthol and the full moon still visible in the pale blue sky. A tub of bright yellow margarine. A blue-colored popsicle. He takes the fish dead in the water in his hand, slick and bright red, and flushes it. A tub of bright yellow margarine. A blue-colored popsicle. She sits up, her legs tucked under her, naked and pale, with a clamp on each nipple. Vicious and desperate at 8 in the morning, his face flushed, dick hard in his trousers, a vodka no ice, and he drives to her apartment and... Icy lemon syrup and honey, and sticky red candy, and her nipples. She pulls up glitter gold jeans, and then glitter gold eyeshadow, a hot pink. In red ballpoint pen, he draws a heart and her initials on his arm, and puts on a white shirt and tie, and walks alongside the highway taking... He's got $150 and calls the number Joey gave him. 30 minutes later, a Chinese girl rings the buzzer at 3C. She looks 15 and has on a... At the BP station, he bought a large coffee and a lemon pie and a bag of Cheetos and a pack of Viceroys and a bag of ice and some Vaseline. Waits for the bus, drunk, covered in sweat, pack of Viceroys. They used to go to Atlantic City, he recalls. Blackjack and high on pills, laughing. 3C at the downtowner Motor Inn, pale blue walls and a bright yellow bedspread, cum stains and a little blood. She would cook eggs and toast. In Orlando once, Alex was dancing at some club. They stayed at the downtowner Motor Inn. Up early every morning, he would walk along the highway. Recalls they went to Orlando and the car broke down and they stayed in some shithole. He would get breakfast from the BP station and bring... At the Grand Street station, stumbling maybe, and the taste of vodka, and 2 Chinese girls are whispering and laughing, and he spins and wonders. Made of pistols and needles and knives and spinning like a disco ball in the center of the room, blocks of blue ice barricade the door, and he... Laughed at by a Chinese hooker, zigzags down the sidewalk, thinks an ice cream, but it's 2 a.m., heads into a bar, orders a Mai Tai. What's so fucking... Has on bright pink underwear and nipple clamps, and she's on her hands and knees drinking a lemonade out of a pale blue bowl on the floor of 3C. Orlando, 2 a.m., has a crumpled bus ticket in his pocket, asks the cab driver to take him to a bar. The guy takes him to some fucking disco near... A big gun, a big needle, a big knife, crawling in honey and tar and lemon syrup. She leans over and blows a stream of smoke. She whispers, she says... He's made of pistols, zigzags into Smith's Tavern with a Chinese hooker on his arm, orders 2 Mai Tais. They talk for a while, then go into the... 2 a.m. in apartment 3C. He's in bed sick and naked. Extreme heat wave. But he's got his eye on the phone, and he's made of knives and ill will. Crawling in pink underwear, baby blue linoleum, covered in Cairo syrup and lemon slices, she licks up his legs and drools sugar onto his tongue. Keeps the small package hidden, the package wrapped in gold foil. He bought this for her years ago, but she would never accept it, so he keeps. In the drawer, there's a box of razor blades and a bottle of Flexeril and a bottle of morphine sulfate and an onyx bracelet wrapped in yellow. In 3C, he's completely alone, spinning in circles in the kitchen. Svetka, 3 in the morning. He falls down a couple times. Then fuck it, why get up? The redhead wears yellow shorts and a tube top. Eddie knows it's a bad idea to be there, but they drink wine and start making out, and then, sickened and exhausted, walking for hours, filled with regret, practicing what to say, drunk and high, looking everywhere for her, and knowing he. 6 a.m. in 3C, eggs and Adderall, feeds the parakeets, hot coffee and vodka and orange juice, Orlando asleep in pale yellow underwear and an onyx. A single palm in the front yard still strung with lights from Christmas. Inside, pale blue carpet with a potted fake ficus tree in one corner. When Orlando moved in, she brought a pair of parakeets, a dozen pairs of stilettos, a gold glitter unitard, and a large black leather Sibian. On the kitchen table, there's a small knife with a gold glitter handle, a smear of blood, an empty pint of Mr. Boston, and a dime of Coke that... There are matching yellow hand towels, one with a small blood stain, and on the wall above the toilet there's a photo of the Smoky Mountains. He's made of pistols and long needles and explosive devices and years gone wrong and regret and self-loathing and the memory of long brown. Radio is down low on a classical station. He does 50 push-ups, feeds the parakeets, and mixes 45 milligrams of morphine sulfate with 2 shots of vodka. Just given up, rides the bus downtown and back again, then walks across the bridge, 3 a.m., stares at the sky, not a single star, goes into a bar. 2 bright blue suns, and he motors down a glittering gold river towards a peak 12 miles high, and a shelter where he'll spend the rest of his... A girl with long brown hair, a molded plastic pistol with a bright blue grip, a bag full of cherry red candy, and a syringe filled with thick... Fucks her at the sink in the bathroom. There's a 10cc syringe filled with a lemon yellow syrup and a framed postcard from Paris above the... Stumbles, spins, just absolutely nowhere. Collapses on the sidewalk. Rebecca's Bar and Grill, a sobbing mess. You fuckers. Spitting and looks up and... Writes her a letter, a text, leaves her a fucking voicemail to leave that awful moron with the shoes and come back to 3C and sing him to sleep. Rows across a nearly frozen lake thick with pale blue slush. In the bow, a carton of Viceroys, a pair of boots, and a packet of 10cc syringes. 2 bright cyan suns, a glitter gold sea, and a concrete structure built into a rocky red slope. The air saturated in icy dust, and a deep hum. Yellow sheets and a blue bra. Orlando is high on cough syrup. She masturbates to anime porn and eats applesauce from the jar and reads Mishima. 3 monitors on the kitchen table. On one, a dead bear run through with arrows. On another, a live webcam from the surface of Titan. And finally, black coffee, vodka, yellow sheets, lemon pudding, a blue glass butt plug in Orlando, and the Italian makes biscuits for the moron with the shoes. Tired now at 10 in the morning, a shot of Stoli and some Adderall doesn't help. Tired of explaining and of pursuing, decides to feed the birds. Lemon tea with 2 tablespoons of sugar. Can't keep his eyes open, too much codeine and soma, and he daydreams of a bright blue pond and her. In the stairwell smoking, head falling into his lap so high, has a big yellow diamond in his pocket. She refused it, so he'll sell it and buy a. Bought passage on a freighter ship, a small cabin, just a bed, spends his time smoking, and on deck, painting small watercolors of the blue. A pile of cocaine, the frozen sea, a large yellow diamond, a pink quartz, an iron ladle of cold water, her beautiful pussy, and a blue glass pipe. A small pond, an extreme heat wave. 2 egrets stand in the dark mud on either side of the water, and he's on the balcony smoking a menthol. And apartment 3C, he's out on the balcony in his underwear with a pack of Viceroys and a vodka no ice, sketching an egret standing in the pond. So high, lemon syrup, lemon ice, lemon pudding, lemon pie. So high, lemon syrup, lemon ice, lemon pudding, lemon pie. So high. He in Orlando at the Wellington Hotel, room 3C, on the bed in their underwear, smoking electric cigarettes and eating French fries, CNN on mute. A great expanse of blue ice. Somehow he has to find a way across. She took everything he had. She took his charm, his looks, his cock, his weapons. 2 snowy egrets, 1 yellow diamond, a frozen lemon pie, the frozen Hudson Bay, a girl with long brown hair, 2 plastic palm trees, 1 concrete. He and Orlando rent a car in Montreal and drive north towards the Hudson Bay, and they sing, and she gives him a hand job, and he asks her to. Tells her stories of his great-grandparents, shows her pictures of himself as a child. They fuck in the shower, and he gives her a string of black onyx around her necks, a yellow diamond in her mouth, black leather cuffs around each wrist, a blue glass butt plug in her ass. Denny's, across from his apartment building, Orlando, Florida, 6 a.m. He wears a pale blue diamond and fills his coffee cup from a Sterling flask. Outside on the concrete patio, dead grass covers a small backyard, 100 degrees, lemonade and vodka, and fire ants and shortwave radio. Sniffs coke at the kitchen table, jerks off, and through the sliding glass doors a small backyard, a swing set with no seats, just hanging chain. Remembers they used to do a lot of coke at her apartment on Ludlow Street, and there would be $500,000 in the kitchen cabinets. Remembers they used to do a lot of dust at his apartment on Clinton Street, and there would be $500,000 in diamonds in the. Remembers they used to fuck on the floor in 3C because he didn't have a bed, and there would be $250,000 in weeds stuffed in the. Out of Rebecca's tavern, a small package wrapped in yellow paper in his jacket, mumbles something about the wrong girl and falls down. Small watercolor of a blue heron, carefully wrapped in yellow paper. He takes it to the post office, then stops in Rebecca's tavern for a shot. Every Saturday morning has a couple shots, drives out to the marsh, photographs egrets and herons, sits on a concrete dock, eats an egg. The wrong fucking time to meet this beautiful Italian girl. Spits and curses, fucking madly in love, and falls down outside the bar, some guy. Stumbles out into the shallow water, suit and tie, a 40 of King Cobra, yells something about not loving her and falls down the whole time. Loaded, and some blonde with tattoos, with a blue and yellow macaw. Her back is turned. And of course he thinks of the Italian and the time they... Wanders out into the shallow water, ankle deep in mud, suit and tie, and the martini glass he's been carrying since he left the bar, a Viceroy. Screaming about her all the time, ridiculous and pathetic, because she's 1,000 miles from here, under the ocean, with his cock in her mouth. A tiny package in gold foil in his pocket, a tattoo in blue of a Siamese fighting fish, a tasty lemon pie. He's wasted drunk and Orlando waits. Fucks her on the pale blue carpet, a gold glitter bra, tattoo of an egret in flight. On the screen a dead brown bear, pierced with arrows, she. Bartender has a tattoo of an egret in flight across her shoulders. At first she chats with him, but then he's wasted drunk and starts showing. 3 o'clock, drunk in 3C, goes down to the complex pool, tries to talk to some blonde girl, tries to read a magazine. He smokes and then thinks. Orlando, 3 o'clock, fucking blazing hot with his groceries in a bag, alongside the highway, suit and tie. Some kids drive by and throw a beer. Staying at the Downtowner Motor Inn in Orlando, hot as shit. Listens to the classical station till 4 a.m., then takes a long walk along the interstate. Brunette, freckles, red geraniums. Her hands are tied with pale yellow ribbon. On her knees, white ass. On the screen, methane rain falls on Titan. Orlando's high on lorazepam and coke, dancing around to some techno in a yellow chiffon skirt and bra. He's taking pictures off the screen. Orlando's passed out on the floor, topless with a yellow chiffon skirt. He's high on Adderall, taking pictures off the TV, some hunting show, and Titan rotates on its axis. Orlando's mesmerized by the feed. She stayed up all night, lemon pie and Diet Pepsi, and masturbating to the yellow. TV's on mute. Blue herons on a nature show. He's sniffing Adderall, listening to the classical station, turned up loud, wondering about a bracelet wrapped in yellow paper in his suit pocket. Thinks to call her, decides no. Walks across the bridge, then back, then to Rebecca's bar. Wades out into icy water, senseless, and rain pouring down. Can see the bridge and a few gulls. There's trash near the muddy shore. He's cursing. Across the bridge, going 30, smoking. The window rolled down. 5 degrees in the blue water below, the blue ice, the wipers fighting heavy snow. Towards James Bay on 393, north of Valparadis, driving fast, Orlando's asleep. The parakeet's cage is on the back seat, covered in a sleeping bag. Driving fast in heavy snow towards James Bay, smoking, and sniffed 40 milligrams Adderall in the gas station toilet. Orlando's pretty drunk and singing. 15 miles per hour behind a snowplow, 2 hours south of James Bay, Orlando sucking his cock, visibility 0, the radio static and a weather report. Out on the sidewalk, fucking 3rd Avenue, curses Rebecca's Bar and Grill, spinning and sick. The bartender was nice, but he's not sure, and maybe. Out in the snow, the sidewalk, the fucking bar and grill, too many vodkas, his suit is wet and heavy with snow, maybe a cheeseburger at McDonald's. Pay by the Week Hotel near Penn Station, Alex dances till 4 every morning. He walks the length of the city and back, drinks at Rebecca's Bar. Eyes keep closing, 393, headed north, smoking and wondering about the Italian girl, going 90. 2 blue parakeets in a cage on the back seat. Orlando hated the cold, but she waded into the freezing water with him, crags of blue ice visible farther out. Her yellow dress stuck to her. He was talking to Sue, the bartender, about living on an oil rig or in a tent somewhere on James Bay, or renting passage on a tanker ship, or 15 miles per hour behind a snowplow on 393, an hour south of James Bay, smoking a Viceroy and listening to the weather updates on the radio. He saw. On a slow-moving tanker on Titan's syrupy yellow sea, hard red candy and diet sodas. He spends his days sketching the gray horizon and golden. At the fucking bar, and the guy with the hat won't shut up, and the vodka is nearly hot in the glass. The sidewalk, and a girl walks by in a apartment 3C in the complex right off the interstate. He sat on the edge of the bed, feeling the morphine move into his legs and the top of. Orlando's in her underwear watching the feed from Titan on the tiny monitor. He's loaded on tablet morphine and trying to draw her face, but Orlando's face glowing green in the light of a small monitor. On the screen, Titan's ocean of methane roils, and the burnt red clouds swell. In room 3C, Orlando hums a Christmas song while he fucks her, tightening the strand of fake pearls around her neck, as CNN is muted on the TV. Low silver-gray bushes, small yellow flowers, chalky earth, a constant wind, a muted white sun, the sky a bruised slate, the moon still up, the pull over somewhere north of Valparadis, just snow, the highway invisible, eats beans out of a can. They each smoke a cigarette, listen to the weather. On the side of a twin bed, slump, Diet Pepsi and menthol, yellow sheets covered in sweat, bags under his eyes from weeks of heavy morphine. Overcoat, old LL Bean boots, a menthol and a Budweiser, moving slow across the frozen lake. All he can think about is the Italian and her stupid. Across the water, a small yellow boat, slush and blue ice. His only thought the memory of Alex tossing her keys on his pillow and walking out. Across the lake, steaming and syrupy yellow, in a small blue boat, injects himself in the arm with Haldol, flicks a cigarette into the liquid. In room 3C, a pay-by-the-week shithole near Penn Station, he reads classical Chinese poetry all night, doing awful cocaine, peas in a coffee cup. Across the water, thick with blue slush and gray shapes below, they row. Orlando in a bright pink fitted raincoat and no underwear, and he in a... Near Penn Station at 2 a.m., pinballs out of Rebecca's bar onto the sidewalk, feeling desperately sad that he'll never kiss the Italian girl. High as shit, smoking, draws Orlando in thick lines of pale blue ink, draws her naked with legs spread, a sarcastic smile, painted pink toes, and... Nothing else on the patio, just a green plastic chair and a withered jalapeno plant. He takes his coffee black with a splash of Mr. Boston and... 3 hours south of James Bay, going 90 in his underwear and a t-shirt, French fries on the passenger seat, looking for a payphone and a... 3 hours south of James Bay, takes the first exit in hours, too drunk now to drive, needs to sleep for a few minutes, pulls into a gas station. Out the sliding glass door, there's a cracked cement patio covered in fire ants, a green plastic chair, and a plastic liter bottle of Smirnoff. On the cracked concrete patio, he's high in his underwear, on a bright yellow beach towel, a blooming red geranium, fire ants everywhere, and... Hours north of Toronto, they find a gas station. He pumps. Orlando won't put out her cigarette, and she's wrapped in a bright yellow beach towel. A bouquet of small yellow flowers tells her he loves her with all his heart, and it was his fault, and if she'll only give him one more chance. And vodka in a small blue boat, both wrapped in bright yellow beach towels. She sings to him until he falls asleep, with his head in her lap. August, 8 a.m., a palm tree strung with dead Christmas lights, a chain-link fence, the neighbor's pit bull, dust and heat, and coffee with Mr. Boston. Somewhere near Las Cruces, going 95, he had dreamt that the girl with curls was in love with him, and he had held her, and she lived in a hovel. Somewhere near Las Cruces, pulled over at a place with breakfast burritos, and eats and smokes and nearly cries, because he wonders if he can go. Driving in circles around Las Cruces, most of the shuttles have already launched, and the town is left with only the poorest Mexicans and him. Circles around Las Cruces, everything covered in red dust and heat. Most of the shuttles have launched, and he's sure she's gone, so he drinks. The second they crossed the New Mexico state line, he came in Orlando's mouth. And now they look for a motel and a bar and a 7-Eleven because... Arizona, New Mexico, the fuck does it matter? Drunk driving, 90, just hangs his head and pounds his swollen fist. Just wants to get out and walk. Lemon candy in his mouth, Orlando in cutoffs, an empty parking lot surrounded by chain link and razor wire and locust trees and gray skies. Lemon candy in his mouth, Orlando in cutoffs, a gravel parking lot, 96 degrees under gray skies, a couple Ocotillo, a pint of vodka, and... Lemon candy in his mouth, Orlando in a tube top, waiting in the car. An old Mexican guy calls himself Doctor, 90 blue volumes sealed. Lemon candy in his mouth, fucking Orlando in the back seat. Parking lot, old Mexican guy drunk, dancing, some kind of soft shoe, ocotillo, gravel. Lemon candy and vodka, maybe some Cheetos. At an all-night drive from Las Cruces to Orlando, pale blue suit, in the pocket an onyx bracelet for her. Turns off down a gravel road just east of Las Cruces, smoking some cheap dust out of a Newport, Orlando naked, wrapped in a yellow beach towel. 90 outside of Las Cruces, pale blue suit and tie but nearly wasted drunk. Orlando pretty in a yellow skirt, an onyx bracelet and heels, and Ocotillo, a gravel parking lot, sticky lemon candy, 90 degrees, an anvil sky, 30 milligrams of Valium, a pale blue suit, a hustler on the passenger seat. Lemon candy in his mouth, Orlando in cutoffs, a hot breeze, some shitty apartment complex next to Home Depot. Knock at 3C, waiting, an old Mexican, open. Lemon candy in his mouth, a gravel parking lot beside Dairy Queen, a pint of warm vodka, fucking nearly crying, wipes his hands on his jacket. Lemon candy in his mouth, gravel road, white knuckles, seeing double, fucking vodka, just exhausted from hallucinating her all the goddamn time. In 3C there's pale blue carpet, a white wicker table with a bird cage and 2 parakeets. On the kitchen table, 3 lines of Coke and a lemon pie, and he's taking pictures of the Italian girl. She's sitting up on the bed with her legs beneath her, a dog collar, white socks, and an onyx bracelet. Somewhere near Las Cruces they pull over and buy Indian fry bread and 2 Diet Pepsis and a pint jar of grain alcohol and a pack of Newports. 3C, and he's crawling around the pale blue carpet, wasted, drunk, and sobbing, and going on about the Italian girl and remembering her shoulders. An empty bag of Cheetos, pink oleanders, a chain link fence, a burning wind, a green lawn chair, a plastic pint of Smirnoff, and a blue glass pipe. Two parakeets in a cage, almost midnight in 3C. He's watching Titan spin on a small monitor by the sink and fisting Orlando on the kitchen. An hour east of Las Cruces, smoking coke from a blue glass pipe, 2 albino parakeets in a cage on the back seat. Orlando's in a short skirt and lemon candy in his mouth, watching Titan rotate in the west, maneuvers the small capsule towards the surface with Orlando's hand in his crotch. A green lawn chair, incapacitated drunk, Budweiser, and electric menthol. Dust and fire ants everywhere. A hot wind blows down from red mountains. Warm vodka and hot wind in his underwear. A green lawn chair. A cracked cement patio. Inside she's in heels eating spaghetti sauce from the jar. Crepe myrtles draped in Spanish moss. A concrete walk through the overgrown lawn. The front door. A dirty diamond-shaped window, the doorbell. The Dogwood Apartments right off the highway, a parking lot, a metal and concrete stairwell to the second story, rows of doors. Inside 3C, a woman. Near the airport inside 3C, she's in a skirt and heels and lemon yellow bra, watching a surveillance feed from the parking lot and drinking. Small house near Las Cruces, old Toyota in the driveway, a hula hoop. Inside, Orlando's high on lorazepam and vodka, watching a surveillance feed. In the passenger seat, a birdcage with 2 albino parakeets, French fries, an inhaler, a pack of Newports, a pistol with a gold glitter handle. In the passenger seat, Orlando's in underwear and snakeskin stilettos, drunk and high on soma, cutting his name into her forearm with a gold. In the passenger seat, a map of New Mexico, a large plastic cup filled with horchata, a nearly empty pint of Smirnoff, and a photo of Orlando. Depressed, exhausted, eating lemon meringue pie in front of a small monitor on the kitchen counter, a surveillance feed from the parking lot. Depressed and exhausted, masturbating on the bed, tangled sheets, an empty pie tin, a bag of Cheetos, a small TV with some German mother-son porn. Small house near the Orlando airport, Spanish moss, some pink oleanders, a horrible drought. On the TV, farm animals dropping dead in the fields. Yellow liquid lapping at red rock, then a valley, and superheated dust, and a concrete structure with aluminum interior walls, banks of monitors. Two snowy egrets standing in a sulfur yellow pond ringed by tall spindly palms, then a line of pale blue mountains and a glaring neon pink sun. A sulfur yellow pond, hot daylight on the asphalt, a Dairy Queen, a stinking dumpster, a blue heron in the drainage ditch alongside the highway. Near the airport, inside 3C, a narcotic inhaler and a surveillance feed from several cameras that he placed along the interstate, watching the... On the passenger seat, French fries and a razor blade, a Visa card in the glove compartment, 12 grand in cash, a gold glitter vibrator, and bubblegum colored clouds as the capsule drifts down, a faint hum of thrusters, Thai pop music and a vague burnt smell, his fingers in her mouth. Fucking 3rd Avenue, noontime sun, stumbles out of Rebecca's bar to the deli, maybe a Diet Coke. The Italian girl can suck his dick, shouting at... Video camera mounted on a palm tree in the front yard. A hula hoop leaning against a metallic blue 92 Camry, the grass overgrown, razor wire. In the passenger seat, Orlando is smoking in pink underwear and wrapped in a yellow beach towel, a new tattoo of a Siamese fighting fish on. 3C, absorbed at the row of monitors, scenes from the exit ramp and parking lot, in underwater green. Orlando whispering she wants to fuck, but he stumbles out, wades out, knee-deep in a sulfur yellow pond. An egret on the far side takes flight in slow motion. He fucking can't stand it any. 3C slumped at the monitor, drunk and trying to sniff a line of speed, maybe laughing. Orlando's in the back with a black guy they brought home. Stumbles down into water waist high, suit and tie, a viceroy, and suddenly 100 egrets lift in slow motion from the surface of the lake, rising. A drainage ditch filled with murky yellow water, an egret poised stiff, and he's waiting in the parking lot of Costco in a metallic blue Camry. 2 a.m., the parking lot of an adult toy store, a single security light yellow overhead. He's waiting with a pack of Newports, the radio on the BBC. Bright lemons, blue carpet, ice-cold milk, cherry candy, Diet Pepsi, watermelon ice, warm vodka, white sunlight, dull brown powder, light cigarettes. In 3C, no sound but the rattle of the AC, a map of the moon laid out on the kitchen table, an inhaler, orange juice, and Smirnoff in the freezer. Wasted drunk, a suit and pale blue tie, barely moving, a viceroy. The roads flooded, a thick yellow mud everywhere, a goat struggles in the ditch. Suit and tie, spins out of Rebecca's bar and grill, wasted and desperately wanting to fuck the Italian girl. Tries to find his fucking phone. Crawling, viscous yellow mud onto chalky red rock. A kingfisher watches from a stump, and a line of pale blue mountains and pouring ethane rain. In 3C, nothing. Just the rattle of the AC and nothing else. A half pint, head in his hands, underwear, sweat and a nosebleed. She's gone for good. In 3C, the hum of the AC and faint squabble of parakeets, a map of New Mexico laid out on the kitchen table, and vodka jerking off at the sink. Orlando is tied to the couch in crotchless panties and a dog collar. He's rifling through old photographs, washing down tablets of fentanyl with... In the passenger seat, French fries, a pair of lemon yellow crotchless panties, a map of the moon's surface, a blue glass pipe, and 50 cents. 2 a.m. through the sliding glass doors, spinning down onto a green lounge chair, tries to take off his pants, smoking. Where's the fucking phone? The desert outside of Las Cruces, a concrete fucking bunker, cigarettes, spaghetti with marinara in foil bags, and electrical tape over his mouth. Asleep on an orange corduroy couch, a pack of Newports on the floor, draped hand, thin white arm, polished black dress shoes, an oscillating fan. Asleep on an orange corduroy couch, a half-eaten plate of spaghetti on the floor, a cigarette burn in the pale blue carpet, a thin white arm. Asleep on an orange corduroy couch, a girl giving head loops on the monitor, a map of the moon's surface laid out on the coffee table, a glass. In 3C, he's asleep on the carpet. The front door is barricaded with an armchair. There's a map of New Mexico on the kitchen table and a line of... 3 in the morning, on an old Dell monitor, a surveillance feed of a man under a streetlight sodomizing a thin brunette woman behind a dumpster. 3 in the morning, sipping warm Smirnoff from a pint. On an old Dell monitor, a surveillance feed of a river and a bear shot through with arrows. Reaching down her throat, karate master, made of pistols, made of gold glitter, spinning like a Death Star, taking everything back, never loved her. Unthinking, chainsawing, made of pistols and gold glitter and knives, and spinning like a fucking disco ball, invisible, untouchable, uncaring, and... Spinning, rotating fast, complete dark, made of pistols, horrible recollection, denying that the Italian girl ever existed at all, cutting through. Rotating faster and faster, a candy pink sun, spinning out of Rebecca's bar at noon, a sulfur dust sky, traffic, and augmented Chinese teenagers. Asleep on the floor, underwear, air conditioner, an empty pie tin, the front door barricaded with an armchair. The radio relays tidal information. Asleep in the stern of a small boat wrapped in a yellow beach towel, drifting through slush and ice, static and garbled Russian from the radio. Asleep on the couch, thin white legs, scarred arms, crushed Adderall and saliva smudged on the glass coffee table. Carpet, the apartment freezing. '92 blue Camry parked near the back of the Walmart lot, asleep behind the wheel. A small gift wrap package in his suit pocket. A hostess. Freezing in 3C, pale blue carpet. He's asleep on the floor. She watches on a surveillance camera from the bedroom. His breathing. His hand moves. 2 surveillance cameras. One shows the exterior of the front door and parking lot. The other tracks the course of the moon throughout the night. One camera fixed on Titan, dull yellow and rotating. The other from the floor of Kitty Cats shows Alex dancing for a table of Chinese business. The dull yellow moon rotating, then city lights. Outside of that, the desert, then a concrete block house. Inside, Orlando on her hands and knees. Surveillance camera in the Walmart parking lot shows a '92 blue Camry under a yellow security light. A light rain. In the back seat, Orlando. Surveillance cam outside Rebecca's bar shows him spinning and falling. A small fire at first, but then much smoke, and he completely disappears. Inside Rebecca's bar, cursing and trying to explain to a glass of vodka, and the fucking Italian girl disappeared, spins backward, falls, then fucking lemon pie and a silent glass of warm vodka. Even the fucking parakeets are staring, ridiculously pathetic. Collapses, then poof, fucking. On the bed sheets covered in sweat and spots of cum, the laundry, there's some watermelon Jolly Ranchers and nothing else but cigarettes and a jar of lemon marmalade, a piece of a bed sheet stained with her menstrual blood, a magazine photo of Saturn, a small carved wooden Buddha, and brings the Moroccan girl back to 3C at the place near Penn Station. Embarrassing in the draped smell of cigarettes. They fuck with CNN on TV. In room 3C, at the place near the Orlando airport, the Moroccan girl, and they talk and smoke cheap coke and make out on the filthy blue carpet. Surveillance cam shows room 3C at the downtowner Motor Inn. He's just closing the drapes. You can see the Moroccan girl pulling off her t-shirt and in 3C at the place near Penn Station, he's up till 4 smoking cheap speed, trying to break the cycle in his head. A map of Morocco on the coffee. Unfolded map of Morocco and a guidebook, Sex Tourism in North Africa, sit on the glass coffee table. Nature on the TV. He drinks the last of surveillance cam, the sidewalk, spinning, falling, perhaps crying, cursing, a sudden conflagration, much smoke, then he seems to entirely disappear. Metallic blue Camry, white carnations, lemon pudding, killing remorse, menthol cigarettes, a dull city moon, roiling desire, warm vodka, endless. A pale blue suit down the sidewalk, light rain, white carnations in one hand, a small package wrapped in gold foil in the other, a head swimming. His face is hot with cheap vodka, his thoughts skidding along on speed. He looks good, he thinks. Hands through his hair, black dress shoes and a tie. Fucking 3rd Avenue, near the sex shops, a bagel place, coffee in a paper cup, endless torment. And the Italian girl is probably still asleep, so... The Italian girl liked him in the ass, but he can't think about that now. A bus to the airport and back, trying to collect himself. Fucking weird. A pool of sweat, a grand slam breakfast, stabbing memories, pink hydrangeas, Spanish moss, the filthy carpet, the filthy ashtray, a motel room key. On the bus to LaGuardia and back for no reason, blazing hot, an orange candy sun, a flask in his pocket, starts talking to some redhead, but she... Drinking from a pint bottle, drawing the Italian girl in profile and in a sitting position, finally just draws her pussy over and over, passes. In 3C, mattress on the floor, drinking from a pint bottle and drawing trees and cakes with candles and small birds, sparrows and starlings, and... In 3C, mattress on the floor, drinking from a pint bottle and drawing spaceships and her face from memory, and finally cursing and passing out. Drunk at the bar, head swimming, drawing on a cocktail napkin, the face of the moon, his parakeets, shows the bartender a picture, then spins out. Bag of Cheetos, a couple warm Budweisers, mattress on the floor, smoking cheap dust, maybe not even dust at all, drawing spaceships and her pussy. Shaky hands, and in his boxers, inside a brick rancher with a dead lawn, an onyx bracelet in a little box, trying to tie a gold ribbon around it. Shaky and nauseous and swearing he'll never leave her again. At the grocery store, he buys cottage cheese and strawberry soda and saltine. Shaky, moving down the sidewalk, coffee in a paper cup, a small pencil drawing of an egret in his suit pocket that he'll slip into her mailbox. Under the surface, a concrete bunker on the moon, with vodka and strawberry soda, Orlando naked and singing hymns, a blue glass dildo in her ass. Under the surface, a concrete bunker on the moon, with vodka and lemon syrup, and Orlando in yellow bra and heels, and they're in love forever. Across the surface of the moon, a metallic blue Camry, and garbage bags of cash in the back seat, Orlando shooting the finest cocaine into her. Chalky rust-colored soil, rocks and dust-covered dress shoes, a royal blue suit, aviators and a viceroy, quiet, nothing but smoke on the horizon. Chalky rust-colored soil, rocks and dust and smoke, and some flame up in the mountains. A blue Camry parked at an abandoned gas pump. A hot wind. Kicks at chalky, rusty soil, in the queue for the last shuttle. a vial of lemon syrup in his pocket, an electric menthol, 2 tablets of speed. Kicks of the chalky yellow soil, a royal blue suit covered in dust and black dress shoes, in the queue for the last round of shuttle tickets. Across the surface of the moon, flying in a modified blue Camry, Orlando sniffing dust off a Visa card, he curses and taps at the busted GPS. Kicking at moon rock, fine yellow dust covering his suit, in the queue with a bunch of Sri Lankan laborers, a picture of Orlando in his pocket. Kicks of the chunky yellow soil, a royal blue suit and cowboy boots, sipping from a vial of narcotic lemon syrup, his cock hard in his trousers. Chalky yellow soil, lichens and low silver shrubs, flames on the horizon, beside an old blue Camry, a bouquet of pink carnations in his hand, and beside the highway, dust and a bouquet of white carnations in his hand. Chain link fence surrounds a stagnant retaining pond, thick yellow mud. Thinking the Italian girl is there, 3 miles from Las Cruces, walking along the interstate, red rocks and a small gift-wrap box in his pocket. Near tears, stumbling, falling occasionally, crumbling red rocks, 3 miles to go, the vodka hot in his suit pocket, curses, a potted African violet. Drunk, thinking she could be there, walking beside the interstate, 3 miles from Las Cruces, crumbling red rock and a bouquet of white carnations. Stumbles and trips alongside the interstate just outside of Las Cruces, a bouquet of white carnations in a small box wrapped in gold foil. Crumbling rocks underfoot, near pitch black, waving his arms through hot air, feeling his way, a mesquite tree, a demon tangle in the dim moon. "2 a.m. parked near the back of the Walmart lot, a red 92 Camry, French fries and vodka and Diet Coke, binoculars and a star map, completely insane. Chinese girl maybe 18, a short skirt, nervous outside the Burger King on Canal Street. He walks past twice slowly. Finally she says, 'Blowjob?' A large white ceramic bowl filled with ice-cold water, several black volcanic rocks, a dozen 10cc syringes, and a cake with pale pink frosting. Stumbling, nearly goes down in the ditch. Oily water, reeds and vine, a blue plastic cup filled with vodka in one hand, some white carnations, a dime of cocaine, a bag of watermelon Jolly Ranchers, a white ceramic bowl filled with motor oil and water, a small glass vial of lemon syrup. Orlando's in the kitchen in her underwear and heels, eating pink cake frosting with a spoon and watching a surveillance feed on a monitor by. On and on to the bartender about the Italian girl, shows her pictures, and also a picture of Saturn torn from a magazine, orders another vodka. On and on to the bartender about the Italian girl, shows her pictures, and also one of his parakeets, and spins, nearly falls, 2 a.m., she throws him. On and on to the bartender about the Italian girl, crazy in the head, orders another vodka and Diet Coke, hands through his hair, the bitch must. 5 a.m., Chinatown in Sunset Park. Hands through his hair, suit and tie. Adderall rings in his ears. A small bakery, the only thing open. A young girl. Half a pack of Newports, a pot of cream of chicken soup on a gas stove, a glass of cold water, 2 tablets of Seroquel, and a bag of candy corn. Pack of Newports on the kitchen table, 600 milligrams of Seroquel in 3 doses, 2 albino parakeets in a white wire cage, and her underwear. There's pink glitter on her face, frosted pink lipstick. Orlando has on a yellow bra, and she's on the floor masturbating, reading Mishima. Secured a surveillance cam in a tree up in the mountains, and now spends his nights in front of the monitor in the bedroom, watching the feed. Room 3C in the place across from Penn Station. Crushed up amphetamines, vodka and strawberry soda. He's hidden. Thinks they'll never find him, so... Lived in his car for 6 months. It's all in the past. Splashes water on his face. Still in the suit from last night. Lights a Viceroy and decides. Doesn't tell Orlando a lot of things, but they fuck twice a day, and she sings him to sleep. She's a brilliant girl with brown hair pulled back. Locks the car door, sits down on the asphalt, head swimming, hands in hair, fumbling, curses, leaning against the tire. Filthy goddamn hot sun. Vodka and strawberry soda, a package of powdered donuts, head full of lust and remorse, watches porn on his phone and texts her from the toilet. Low silver gray bushes, Marlboro lights, small flowers with pale green and yellow petals, a plateau, an icy wind, a rusted burgundy-colored Camry. A flat expanse, a cold wind and water somewhere in the distance, gray shrubs and a dirt road down the middle, and a rusted-out Camry with a red. 100 miles per hour in a 92 Camry on a logging road, 1 hour south of James Bay. Gallon jugs in the trunk filled with water and vodka and saline. Burgundy-colored Camry, a vinyl interior filled with horrible pain, a Viceroy and an LL Bean sleeping bag, a family-sized bag of Cheetos on the... Burgundy 92 Camry rusted out and flying, a logging road beside a river, given up on the map, just due fucking north and screaming to stay awake. A swampy pit, a flower pot filled with mud, the fruit splitting its skin, a dead rabbit amongst the rocks, everything swollen and defeated and... Fast up a logging road, a stream beyond its banks, floorboards thick with mud, a sleeping bag soaking wet, grain alcohol on his breath, a Viceroy. And due north and fast up a frozen road, icy mud and rock. In the trunk, sardines and watermelon candy, all that's left, and a dream of James Bay. Concrete block building, the Arctic Circle, mud and warm vodka, a can of beer, potato chips in a filthy basket, a blonde woman sunburnt and drunk. Soaked and drunk, the Arctic Circle or 3rd Avenue, in a bar, icy rain, the sidewalk, some Japanese girl, young, and he's invisible, stumbles on the... Fuck. Stumbling mind, warm Smirnoff, maybe powdered donuts, or a Chinese girl, or a beautiful pond filled with beautiful fish, falls out onto the invisible in a pale blue suit, powdered donuts in one pocket, a pint of Smirnoff in the other, hurling curses at the Italian girl and slipping. Sleeps for 2 hours, then a line of meth off a credit card, another bag of Cheetos and a powdered donut, driving north until the road ends, or icy wind, standing beside a burgundy-colored Camry, the wheelbase rusted out, a royal blue suit, hands through his hair, pulls himself together. A teenage Moroccan girl, an Adderall prescription, a lifetime of disappointment, a pot of chocolate pudding on the stove, a blue glass butt plug. Tiramisu from that place in a box wrapped in pale blue paper, a head full of cocaine, a dinner party. He's drunk by 6:30 and some redhead. The place across from Penn Station, a broken window. In 3C, a mayonnaise jar filled with piss. It's 2 a.m. and the Moroccan girl is tied to the bed. A pale blue suit, the cuffs caked in chocolate-colored mud. A lifetime of horrible mistakes, a pack of Viceroys in his pocket, and an icy Arctic. A pale blue vase caked in thick chocolate mud. A pot of macaroni and cheese on the stove. A mouthful of lemon candy and a bright pink plastic. Driving all night, sleeping around sunrise, headed northwest at high speed, drinking strawberry sodas, and she jerks him off, and they eat nothing. Convinced Orlando to come with him on this crazy trip north, telling her that the north was somehow magical, though he couldn't say exactly how. Lifetime of fucking heartache and loss. He smokes and runs his hand through his hair while Orlando's on her knees with his cock in her mouth. Orlando's entirely insane and smears blue house paint all over her body, black nail polish and sunglasses, and she videotapes the whole thing. Smears himself with mud and vodka and powdered lorazepam and spaghetti sauce and under-eye cream and sand from a beach in South Carolina and an icy Arctic wind, a white fox pelt for sale along with diesel fuel and Diet Pepsi and cans of spaghetti with meatballs and Marlboro Lights. 1,000 miles beneath the surface, a steel cell, no windows or doors, a shotgun and a plate of cheese pierogies, and Orlando tied to the bed. His head in his hands, Thai porn on the monitor. Orlando's in the kitchen stirring spaghetti sauce with a teaspoon. The place smells of cologne. A great blue heron, a stained blue blazer, a pack of Viceroys, a blank stare, an expanse of stagnant water, a vodka rocks, a stack of pornography. Exhausted, a small kitchen table, one chair, a pack of 10cc syringes, a torn poster of Mars with thumbtacks on the wall, a plate of spaghetti, and Chinese girl, cut off jeans, smoking a clove outside the liquor store, offers to buy her booze, already stumbling, slurs his words, she laughs, and small kitchen table, one chair, efficiency near the Orlando airport, vodka and Diet Coke, 10cc syringes, and learn Chinese on the computer screen. Spins out of Rebecca's bar and grill. Gin, vodka, fucking triple sec. Lorazepam, a soma, a fucking day at the beach, some girl in a tube top, and in his underwear practicing Mandarin on YouTube. He's watching her sleep, sniffing $10 of shitty coke, sipping a vodka orange juice, and vodka and soma, and she's nowhere, she's gone. She never was. He never kissed her. He never met her. And there's lorazepam and morphine sulfate. And royal blue, a wave of nausea, a vast expanse, his hand in his hair, vague panic, his hand between her legs, a kingfisher watching from a stump. Stumbles, water milk blue streaming in the gutters, happy as a goddamn clam. Curses and indifferent to all women, spits, a stained black blazer. Dull yellow titan spins, milky blue water in a tall glass. A thin palm leans over a pool of ethane. Several snowy egrets, a cheap Chinese pistol. No pistol, no knife, no weapons whatsoever. A white sun, dead still air, and the days don't have names. He's in a lounge chair out back, sipping warm vodka, strawberry soda chaser, in a green plastic lounge chair on the cement patio and back. A lawn of brown grass, a withered olive tree. A white sun explodes in the sky. A palm tree sways slightly. A dust devil down a shitty street with tricycles and a '92 Camry. A cheap Chinese. A bleak fuck with her bent over the bathroom sink. He's drunk and weak. In an efficiency just south of Orlando, with the radio on classic rock. Efficiency just south of Orlando, the walls a milky blue. A worn green armchair barricades the door. In the bathroom, he's in his underwear with pistol in a spaceship, a million miles an hour, Saturn's rings, spaghetti and meatballs in a foil pouch. Orlando pleading with him over the comm. Cup of milky blue narcotic solution, eyes closed, not a thought in his head, just vague lust. A gold-plated Chinese handgun, and a finger up her. Near Las Cruces, a green lounge chair and vicious solar flares. A glass of vodka with lemons. A viceroy, a home-rigged laudanum drip in his arm. A green lounge chair, cement patio at 4 a.m. in his underwear. A hot wind from black mountains. A drone hovers above the backyard. He's dead drunk. A narcotic saline solution through an IV in his arm. Sprawled in a lounge chair in the backyard, underwear, spilled vodka all over, a drone, and outside of Las Cruces at 4 a.m., driving in circles, drunk, texting her over and over, a dull roar in the sky, looking for a breakfast place, but he... Hot wind. Orlando's in her underwear in the passenger's seat. They rigged an IV bag with amphetamines and saline an hour outside of Las Cruces. Small house near Orlando, a thick pink solution, synthetic narcotic chased with vodka, stands in the kitchen slicing lemons, naked, a hard-on, and a sky full of satellites. 4 a.m. on the desert floor, a transmitter and a shortwave receiver, a Viceroy and a plastic gallon of Mr. Boston in the... Orlando waits in the car, stars and satellites, 2 a.m. on the desert floor, installing a microphone in a mesquite tree an hour east of Las Cruces. In apartment 3C, listening to the Marine report on a shortwave radio, a plate of spaghetti, the door barricaded with an armchair, Sasha Grey on. In 3C, the Weather Channel muted on TV, a rigged IV of laudanum by the chair in the kitchen. Orlando walking around naked and high in stilettos. On the patio, 3 sliding glass doors, a red geranium in a green plastic pot, a hibachi grill, a Bustelo can filled with cigarette butts. On the patio, on a green plastic table, a map of New Mexico, a green plastic chair, fire ants, a small fenced-in yard of dirt and rock, a glass of... In apartment 3C, a map of New Mexico on the kitchen table, a glass of warm vodka, a few crushed Adderall on a credit card, Orlando dancing to a... Orlando dances naked, pale blue carpet, a black leather couch, the Marine report on a shortwave radio on the kitchen counter, a map of the moon. Passed out in the backyard, dirt and rock, a withered mesquite, a lounge chair and a boombox tuned to Latino talk radio, in his underwear, sweat. Cursing over dirt and crumbling rock, occasional ocotillos and prickly pear, wasted drunk and soaked in sweat, a black suit and a martini glass. South of James Bay, a Quonset hut of concrete, inside 1 red light bulb and a white fox pelt, a poster of Saturn, and Orlando tied to a twin bed. An hour south of James Bay, a concrete Quonset hut, inside 1 red light bulb, and everything is desire, and a fox pelt, and he's immobilized, and... Spinning, the radio static, spinning inside a Quonset hut, vodka on the walls and floor, desire everywhere, lemon pudding and red food coloring. A concrete Quonset beside the logging road to James Bay, a single red light bulb, Smirnoff with red food coloring and lust, naked with a fox. Squirrels tattooed on her arm, went into the bathroom and kissed, his hand under her t-shirt. Then he spins off the stool and stumbles out onto the desert floor, crumbling red rock, nausea, sublingual morphine sulfate, thoughtless, wondering, the mountains in silhouette, then vomits and... Sings him to sleep, Orlando covered in tattoos, takes his hand and loves him forever and ever. Beneath the bottom of the sea, a concrete bunker. The desert floor, crumbling yellow rock, twisted trunk of dead mesquite, covered in sweat. The only thought, the Italian girl, and she's not here. The desert floor, crumbling yellow rock, alongside the interstate outside of Las Cruces, living on speed and Diet Coke, and she's gone, so there. The desert floor, crumbling yellow rock, a bottle of cough syrup, stumbling in a black suit, a viceroy in an erection, outer space above him, and the desert floor, crumbling yellow rock, inside a Quonset hut, a single red bulb, a night blooming cereus in a large pot, high on cough syrup, and the desert floor, a concrete Quonset hut inside a bare red bulb, green plastic patio furniture, a map of the moon's surface Orlando sprawled on. The desert floor below outer space, a single Quonset hut, both high on homemade angel dust, and fucks her in a panic on the cement floor under. A single red light bulb, a toaster oven, sliced bread and saltines, static in the Marine report on the radio, a small kitchen table, a map of New Mexico unfolded on the glass coffee table, an 8x10 glossy signed by Sasha Grey, a bag of Cheetos, a pink plastic vibrator, and two Going 90 outside of Las Cruces, a flask of warm vodka in his suit pocket, Orlando with a blue glass pipe and a vibrator in her leather. Black jeans and a leather coat, stumbles out of Rebecca's bar into a downpour, 2 a.m., takes the train to Penn Station, out on the street, confused. Confused and pissed, horny and lost. Pays the fat girl down the hall $20 for a blowjob, but all she wants to do is smoke coke. He can't. Fat girl down the hall has his cock in her mouth, eyeing the pipe on the dresser. He's just horribly confused and wondering about the Italian. A plate of cheese pierogies, an endless stream of porn. The cocaine is always the very best. A spaceship and a shotgun, Orlando in a tube top, and a red light bulb, sliced bread and applesauce, 2 albino parakeets in a white wire cage, a bottle of fentanyl, Orlando in her underwear and heels. Underwear and heels, apartment 3C, the radio on a Mexican station. She sniffs speed off a credit card, waits for him, and is hopelessly in love. On the surface of the moon, hopelessly in love, 5 a.m. and looking for a breakfast place and a payphone, and high as hell on soma and cheap dust. Reinforced concrete Quonset hut on the surface of the moon, a red light bulb, Orlando tied to a twin bed, a pot of spaghetti on a Coleman stove. Freebasing in the middle of fucking nowhere, the desert floor, some noise and a prickly pear, outer space above, freaked out and too high, so he... Stumbling around near the Greyhound station in Las Cruces, high as shit and sick drunk. Orlando's not there, and the Italian girl never existed. Fuck you, spins, painted red toes, and a fucking taxi on the face of the fucking moon. Nothing is going to happen. Looking for a payphone and a... Wispy blonde hair at Rebecca's bar and grill, a short black dress. Her name's Karen of all things. He buys her a fucking Stella and nearly breaks. Sidewalk, 7 a.m., ghost everywhere. Can't make a move. An egg and cheese. Coffee in a paper cup. Tries to navigate down the street with eyes closed. Blonde girl Karen must have left sometime in the night. Desperately sick and late for a bus to Las Cruces, murmuring apologies to the Italian. Shouting apologies to the Italian girl in the middle of nowhere, stopping to pee along the interstate outside of Las Cruces, pounds the roof of the car, black suit soaked in sweat, nearly breaks down. Another from the flask and a bump of speed, back in the car, cries. Trying to navigate the desert floor with his eyes closed, sick drunk, using his mind to move across an expanse, stumbling over crumbled rocks. Stopped to pee alongside the interstate, wanders off in the direction of the mountains, wasted and disoriented, dirt and a red plastic cup of. Using his mind to navigate the expanse, hovering a foot above the desert floor, arms outstretched, eyes closed, lips moving fast, speaking to her. Hovering above the desert floor, arms outstretched, eyes closed, incantations and pleading, drifts magically above Ocotillo and Mesquite, and arms outstretched, eyes closed, he rotates several feet above the desert floor, a black suit and a silver flask, and pockets stuffed with cocaine. He's a magician and levitates above the dirt and crumbled rock, rotating slowly, gesturing vaguely, lips moving, black suit and wingtips, and inside 3C, spinning in a droning hum, feet inches from pale blue carpet, made of pistols and knives, rotating, arms outstretched, lips moving, and inside 3C, naked, arms outstretched, a hard-on and a low hum, levitating inches above the carpet, a pistol in one hand, a martini glass in the. And Soma, moving above the city, floating, a black suit, arms akimbo, black wingtips, a cheap Chinese pistol in each hand, a head full of Smirnoff. Moving above the city, levitating, a black suit soaked in sweat, raining, curses, a cheap Chinese pistol in one hand, a bouquet of white carnations. And Soma, freezing inside 3C, levitating above pale blue carpet. 2 a.m., a pint of Smirnoff, the television looping a Chinese girl in knee socks, and she doesn't answer. Floating inside 3C, levitating, pressed against the ceiling, naked and crazed, Adderall and vodka and cheap Chinese cocaine. Moving above the city, levitating, frozen on cheap Chinese cocaine, naked in full lotus, 8 arms with pistols and knives, and over her head. Floating just above the surface of the moon, naked in full lotus and completely frozen, 8 arms with razor blades and white carnations, he stumbles out onto 3rd Avenue, curses, black suit, wingtips, spinning, 8 arms akimbo, a shot of warm vodka in each hand, 2 a.m. Stumbles out of Rebecca's bar onto the surface of the moon, ice cold, crumbling rock, spinning, heads towards the mountains, perhaps the Italian. Levitating just above the moon's surface, methane, the lotus position, naked, 8 arms, a shot of warm vodka in 7th, a white carnation, and in 3C, the TV looping porn at 4 a.m, up near the ceiling floating, full lotus. Outside, blue light leaks from a crack in the blind. A low concrete bunker on the moon's surface, a bare red light bulb, a monitor looping porn, and frozen solid, and in full lotus, levitating just. And from Las Cruces to Orlando going 90, a couple of days, cheap Chinese cocaine and French fries and Diet Coke, a Motel 6 near New Orleans. "90 miles per hour outside of Las Cruces, a 92 Camry, one hand on the steering wheel, masturbates, desperate and tragic in Ocotillo silhouettes, the sunset. Desperate on the moon's surface, a low concrete bunker, inside a bare red bulb, bank of monitors, light moves across a rock formation in shadow. Desperate inside a burgundy-colored 92 Camry outside Las Cruces, nearly breaks down in tears. The desert floor, stops, gets out of the car. Desperate inside 3C, middle of the night, a black suit and wingtips, full lotus, hovering inches above the pale blue carpet, lips moving slightly. The Dogwoods apartment complex now next to the outlet mall in 3C, 4 in the morning, levitating up near the ceiling, black suit soaked in sweat. A stall in the bathroom at Burger King, cheap speed off the tank, fumbles with cash, counting, hands in hair, tries to text her but too goddamned. 2 albino parakeets in a cage, Bauhaus, and some Chinese actress, maybe 25, sitting on the couch. A blue pill and a shot. She hates this music so. A black rubber dildo, the moon's surface, a 92 Camry, a rock formation, the Chinese actress, an antenna array, a line of crushed modafinil. Head spinning. In one hand a pistol with a gold glitter grip. Behind Orlando, bent over the sink, and hopelessly in love, or maybe the surface of. Focusing her mind, and 60 milligrams Adderall, Orlando in full lotus and pale blue underwear on the carpet. He's rotating up by the ceiling, lorazepam. Full lotus, naked, and a solid block of ice, levitating inches above the carpet and spinning, a black rubber dildo in one hand, a line of cocaine. And in 3C, 2 in the morning, full lotus, naked and frozen, rotating up near the ceiling, 8 arms akimbo, with an albino parakeet in each palm. A black jacket, no pants, weeping and a hard-on, 8 arms outstretched, spinning just above the carpet, a Polaroid of the Italian girl in each hand. And jerks off, spinning, razor blades in each hand, drills beneath the moon's surface, then stumbles into Rebecca's bar and grill, has 5 vodkas. Stilettos. Orlando in the shower videotapes herself peeing, watching the feed in the living room, sniffing cheap cocaine and eating spaghetti. Orlando in the kitchen, lemon pie, transfixed by something on a small monitor on the countertop. The bedroom, he jerks off to a video on a phone. Surveillance feed from a camera he placed alongside the interstate, in 3C on the floor. Cheetos, watching, both naked. She's masturbating to the... A black suit, wingtips, a viceroy of vodka, stands at the foot of the bed watching Orlando jerk off to the image of a grizzly bear on her phone. A dead black bear pierced with arrows, Orlando's jeans pulled down, and her bra, leaning over the kitchen sink, behind her, and a white fox pelt. Surveillance feed from the surface of the fucking moon on the TV above the bourbon, Rebecca's bar. 5 vodkas, and he disappears into thin air. A brutal desert sun, low twisted pines, a plastic cup of vodka, a tea-colored pond, blowing white sand, stacks of burning tires, the carcass of a pond of bitter tea-colored water, a few tires and other garbage, a magnum-sized condom, a swarm of mosquitoes, the dumpster behind a Dairy Queen. A surveillance feed on the small monitor shows a retaining pond behind an outlet mall. The color rust or tea, the surface covered in oily film. A surveillance feed on the small monitor shows an expanse of desert, a few prickly pear, a low twisted mesquite. Blowing sand obscures the view. A red sunset. He rigged a surveillance cam behind the Dairy Queen, a dumpster, a parking lot, watches some Chinese girls smoking from a pipe, and retaining pond behind a strip mall, viscous yellow liquid, the desert moving in, blowing sand, for lease signs in every window, and used condoms. Black suit on one side of the pond. He stands dead still, holding a red plastic cup filled with vodka. On the other side, a single egret poised. Hot blowing sand in a 92 Camry, the parking lot of the Dairy Queen, thinking and smoking, French fries and a cup, half Diet Coke, half Smirnoff. And two Chinese girls on their knees, a thick yellow liquid and narcotics, a pile of burning tires along the highway, and several egrets alight. The desert floor and long-range telepathy, sand and lust everywhere, soaked in sweat, leaned against a burgundy-colored Camry, vodka and a diet. High and naked in full lotus, hovering inches above the desert floor, stripes cut in 8 arms, and mirrored aviators with a viceroy and 8, and spinning and rising, cuts along 8 arms outstretched, up above the surface of a stagnant pond, an ethane drizzle, and a pale blue sun, and inside a single red bulb, then a pale bluish sun. Titan hung dull yellow and huge. Outer space, a low concrete structure on a rocky ground. Fucked and high and inside naked and soaked in sweat, full lotus and a hard-on, a single monitor blue-green, and a recording of a teenage girl. Soma and lorazepam and fentanyl, applesauce and sliced bread and lemon marmalade, and a young man fucks a woman pretending to be his mother. Deck of a fucking Russian ice cutter, icy sulfur drizzle, black gulls screaming, in orange overalls with a narcotic inhaler and a vodka pump. Behind the Burger King off the interstate, the Tall Pines apartment complex. Inside 3C, on the linoleum in the kitchen, naked with a flashlight and... On the linoleum, a flashlight, 2 a.m., the countertop, a small monitor and a lemon meringue pie. Orlando, a neon pink bra, looking inside herself and... Sketching seabirds, the surface of the moon, reinforced concrete Quonset, a string of Christmas lights, sniffing speed, spaghetti and lemon soda. Levitating above a stagnant pond with plastic bags, nauseating foam, flanked by a semicircle of thin, tall palms and 2 snowy egrets poised. Through a weirdish copse of tall palms, pitch black with Orlando, both blinded on Chinese cocaine and Smirnoff, with a flashlight in her pussy. Quality liquors, black suit, mysterious cuts on hands and arm, slept in the toilet of Rebecca's bar, spins out 7 a.m., no thoughts, Dunkin' Donuts, and spinning, Dunkin' Donuts, girl at the counter with beautiful Mexican skin, a coffee in a paper cup, nearly blind, gets to the key to the restroom and gets the key, and Orlando in the stall, Dunkin' Donuts, bleach, piss, and killing stomach pain, but gets her pants off, and she's hopelessly in love. Then speed and lemon marmalade on toast. Already Orlando's saying, my mind is like a fucking diamond in my head, and she's wild-eyed and wasted, drifting down 4th Avenue, black suit, wingtips, a small velvet bag of rhinestones in one pocket, a Hostess lemon pie in the other, and in rhinestone heels, Orlando alongside the highway, prickly pear, outer space, a flashlight along the desert floor, in a filthy black suit and a highball glass in a filthy black suit, moving alongside the highway, scanning outer space with a red plastic flashlight and a tape recorder. Scanning for signals, pitch black, thick mud, stumbles, a plastic pint bottle, hands with cuts, a picture of the Italian girl pinned to his lapel. A viceroy, mumbling, scanning for signals, picks up her voice from outer space, a tape recorder, a wooden ruler, out in the desert, mind on fire. Mind on fire, scanning for her signal in the vodka aisle at Quality Liquors, measuring his steps, pushing bottles aside to see, quietly, quietly. And lays his jacket carefully across the branches of a low mesquite, the interstate still in sight. 2 a.m., cold, the stars, a small antenna array. And lights from Las Cruces standing beside the car, the desert floor, several drones overhead. Orlando asleep inside, a shitty wind, a bottle of lights from Las Cruces, the desert to the mountains, stumbling, but mind like a fucking diamond, and a martini glass, half vodka, half lemon juice. Full of Ativan and warm vodka, levitating just above the roof of a 92 Camry. Full lotus and slowly rotating, a great expanse of sand and briar. Hopelessly in love, in the median of I-75, a 92 Camry. In the back seat, his cock in her mouth and her knife at his throat, and outer space above. Into Las Cruces at 2 in the morning, the downtowner motor lodge, door locked and barricaded with an armchair, unpacks a mobile antenna array. Voice recorder and cold French fries, going 90 outside of Las Cruces. The Camry's antenna picking up signals from the Italian girl's pussy. Fucked up, sick and weeping, with a voice recorder and a wooden ruler, a telescope and a pint of Mr. Boston, up on a ridge on the moon's surface. A liter of Smirnoff and going 90, the surface of the moon, a modified 92 Camry, burgundy colored, with a telescope mounted to the roof, and dyed pink swans in the lake, 60 milligrams of Adderall in the lavatory, crumbling yellow rock along the ridge, unintelligible signals from the radio, black, and levitates just above the center of a perfectly round pond of greenish ethane, 8 arms outstretched, a cheap Chinese pistol in each hand. A perfectly round pond of greenish ethane, full lotus, he hovers just above the surface at the center. An arc of glinting silver semen streams. Out of Rebecca's bar, a methane drizzle, a black suit, wingtips, a small package wrapped in gold paper in one pocket, a ray gun in his left hand. Drops his keys, vodka down his shirt, a seat in the window at Dunkin' Donuts on 4th Avenue. Can't recall. And tries to text the Italian girl, but... And a fucking ray gun spins around, nearly falls from the stool, pinballs to the lavatory, some blonde girl, pulls himself together, then blows up. Drifts in a black overcoat down 3rd Avenue, hopeless by the sex shops, Mexican grocery for a sandwich, nothing, and back on the sidewalk. Drifting in the dildo aisle, that place on 3rd Avenue, not a pussy to piss in, hopeless and half an egg and cheese left over in his pocket with... She's not there on 2nd Avenue by the water, a burgundy-colored Camry, joyless asleep at the wheel, drifting through stop signs, headlights sweep. Black overcoat, drifting invisible, along the water with foam and river eels beneath the surface, arms outstretched, a viceroy, and transmitting. Not moving, on the couch, very still. A Russian call-in show and static on the radio. A smudge of cocaine on the coffee table. One hand trembles. The city hums, Russian voices. Levitating above 2nd Avenue by the water. 8 arms outstretched. A beautiful sunrise over the harbor. Shaking. Her name repeated over and over, transmitting over shortwave. Inside 3C, all the windows covered in black garbage bags, and the door barricaded. Receiving signals and making notes on a legal pad, a wooden ruler and a voice recorder. The door barricaded, and a pot of spaghetti on the stove. Desperate and covered in sweat, 8 arms, spinning dials, in full lotus on the kitchen linoleum, broadcasting a series of pleas and apologies. Speed and vodka. Watches from a command center of reinforced concrete on an oil rig in a methane sea, with a shotgun and night vision goggles. And fucking Orlando in heels against a bank of monitors inside the command center of an oil rig in a heavy ethane rain, reinforced concrete. Perfect and safe, an oil rig in a roiling sea, with binoculars and a viceroy. The whole thing steel and reinforced concrete. No windows, no doors. And spins out onto the deck, gale force winds, an oil rig, Saturn rotating, firing a cheap Chinese pistol into boiling waters, blind drunk. spins out into a slow ethane drizzle, cuts on his hands, trying to light a fucking cigarette, scuffs shoes in desperation, passes a Chinese, and spins out of Rebecca's bar and grill onto the sidewalk, black overcoat, methane drizzle, gets down on his knees to beg some Chinese girl for Chinese girl on an oil rig, Orlando in a bunker on the moon, a Chinese blowjob on the moon, 3 Chinese girls and cocaine, Orlando on. Line of speed, stumbles out fumbling, stupid, a light drizzle, the filthy sidewalk, nearly invisible in a black overcoat, Chinese girls in shadow. And gulls dive, eyes on the high white sky, and on the lake's surface, arms outstretched, a black suit, a head full of booze, blue ice masses drift by. And eyes on the bright white sky and frozen, the filthy sidewalk. Offers some nervous Chinese by the dumpsters $20 for a blowjob. Foam and shit float on the surface, plastic bags, icy gray slush, and eels move in the awful brown syrup, and on the littered shore standing he. Chinese blowjob behind a dumpster at the Dairy Queen, a slimy brown eel in one pocket, a Hostess lemon pie in the other. The Camry's heater is. In apartment 3C, 2 albino parakeets, a 50-gallon tank of freshwater eels, Orlando in heels watching Mishima's death speech on a small monitor. Full lotus with a hard-on and a perfect tear falling from each eye, 8 arms akimbo, and hands covered in cuts with a martini glass in each. Can't even recall what she looks like. Stupid fuck. Stumbles into 3C fumbling with keys and a book of matches, a hard-on in stained black slacks. And says, "Did somebody bake pie?" Stumbles into 3C blind drunk, a map of Las Cruces in his pocket, a freshwater eel in one hand, a highball glass. Levitates cross-legged above the icy surface of the fucking moon, a tear tattoo beneath each eye, the name Rebecca cut into his left forearm. With cuts on his hands and arms, a viceroy in a red plastic cup filled with Smirnoff, his dick in Orlando's ass, and across his back, a Siamese. Stumbles out of Dunkin' Donuts, gave the girl his card, still trying to explain about the Italian girl, but no one's listening anymore. The radio. Rebecca's and some Mexican girl at the counter, a chocolate frosted, blind drunk, and that beautiful skin, tries to write his number on a napkin. Alleyway behind Rebecca's, that Mexican girl just wants the Adderall, his hand up her skirt, and the moon rotates, but maybe Burger King, spins. Confused, Dunkin' Donuts, trying to put things right in his head, dick in her ass and so forth, but not at 6 a.m, reties his tie and... Asleep behind the wheel, tides of freshwater eels in water the color of Coca-Cola. A Camry parked beside the river. In a dream, she's out there, but... Confused behind the wheel at Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru. No bar at this place. Sun comes up, and the smell of the river and that Chinese girl. Nothing. and Chinese cocaine, and fucking misery drips down his throat. Says, "Assume the lotus position, you motherfucker." They throw his ass out. A glass of milk, and gray and heavy, some bright purple syrup, white carnations upended in the trash, shattered blue glass, and everything soaked. No idea. Everything up in the treetops now. Throws a blue glass bottle against a cement wall. Everything suffering, and rain, and milk, and syrup. That killing lust, and crawls up the slick black trunk in underwear. The branch is a mass of fucking eels, carrying a pint and some cigarettes. And strawberry flavored syrup to jerk off, then orange pills and lemon meringue pie, a glass of bluish milk, then a black overcoat by the river. Lock of the Italian girl's hair, a ribbed condom, pancakes with strawberry syrup, vodka in cold tea tastes awful, goes to the toilet, breaks down. Overcoat, drifts just above the filthy river, arms outstretched, huge sadness, glistening, pockets filled with Christmas presents for dead girls. Cum and foam at the edges. A slick of bitterness shimmers on the surface. Walks on water out to sea. Black overcoat, a viceroy, and a red plastic. Regret fouls the cold, cold water. Back and forth across this fucking bridge. Still, after all this time, the Italian girl's pussy on his tongue. A white ceramic bowl of cold, cold water from the faucet. A highball glass filled with shitty river water and Smirnoff. A blue glass vase with freezing ocean water, then outer space, and a deserted waste on the moon, with a concrete block building and a twin bed with a plastic mattress. And says she might as well be in outer fucking space to some asshole at the bar. Drops a tablet of morphine sulfate and a shot of Mr. Boston. The lights of Las Cruces and stars, pinballs through low mesquite and crushing memories, flashlight and tape recorder and polished black shoes. A Mexican station, and the 92 Camry over gravel in a stained black suit moving towards the mountains, driven by cheap speed and french fries. And wasted at some reservation bar near Las Cruces, a shithole, and a couple nervous Apache hookers drinking Southern Comfort, maybe coyotes. A sack of fucking rocks, and a ridiculous gallon of Smirnoff. 1,000 pairs of Japanese tits and Saturn spinning. A mouthful of shit and red. Sober up. And a black suit and wingtips. An Indian blanket around his shoulders. Pouring rain alongside the highway. walks for hours cursing her. Black suit and despair, an Indian blanket around his shoulders, pouring rain, and inside 3C, amphetamines, Zoe Voss, Thich Nhat Hanh, and spaghetti.